welcome back to my studying. Today I would like to review and talk about the Knife of Dreams because I've just finished it. So let's go for a brief recap. We have a prologue, which is actually quite riveting, where we have a scene between Valda, the commander of the Children of the Light, being challenged by Galad because Valda has been boasting about how he murdered his mother, Morghese, and he kills him. Galad defeats Valda and becomes the new Lord Commander and rallies them to fight, I don't know, everyone. Shanchan, Aiel, Aes Sedai, you name it. Then we go to Perrin's POV, where we finally have the closure to the Fael's arc of, well, her capture. So he is allied with the Shanchan, and he manages to use Forkroot to not poison, I guess, yeah, poison the wise ones of the Shadow so that they're out of the fight, and attacks the Shadow camp and frees Fael. The Shanchan, what do they get from it? They get all of the wise ones to use as Damane, and he gets Fael back. And he also learns about a prophecy that kind of supports his recent actions in the previous book. So in one of the prophecies of the dragon, there is some kind of a wolf with a hammer. So yeah, there's that. Then we have Elaine, who is fighting the siege. So she manages to break the siege, and with a lot of help from other parties, with help of her loyal Brigitte and the Windfinders and all of that, she manages to defeat the opposition and essentially become a queen. Then we have Matt, who meets up with Talmanes and some of his members of Band of the Red Hand, and they strike the Shanchan enemy, and the center of it is Tuon. So he lets her go because I'm paraphrasing, but he says something to the extent of your people, your armies are my enemy, but you're not. And by letting her go, he fulfills some arcane marriage vow of some sort, so they're officially married now. I don't know. And then we have finally news about Moiraine, who was out of the picture for so many books right now, and she sends a letter to Thom Merlin and relays to him in a weird tone that we're gonna talk about that later, but that the tone of that letter was very intimate. Which is weird, considering it's coming from Moiraine to Thom, of all people, but I digress. So in that letter we find out that Tower of the Genji is the place she is being held, and only, well, Matt and Thom and I don't know, anyone else who wants to tag along can come and save her, but that will be, I presume, in the next book. The sort of a mic drop plot of the book that happens at the very end is Rand's encounter with Semirhage. Semirhage? Am I saying that right? Semirhage lays a trap. She disguises herself, and when Rand comes by, she attacks him. And she's actually quite successful in her attack because she magically chops off his hand essentially just burns it. It's gone. He doesn't have a hand anymore. but he does defeat her and manages to capture her. And I know this was brief, but I've been trying to extend this recap for several times, and I was just getting lost in these little tiny subplots because there are so many of them. So many. It's like if the previous book had a speed of, I don't know, 3 out of 10, this one has like 8, pedal to the gas, 8. So this is less of a plot or of a foreshadowing question. It's more of a character development inquiry. There is a scene where Fail is on the verge of escaping herself, or using her own wits, and there was this character Roland on the side of the Shido, who was sympathetic to her cause and was offering to take her with him because his group of people within the Fail presumably were trying to leave. And then I had a brief thought in my head that maybe she was into it or into him, or was it like a Stockholm syndrome or something? But she doesn't think about it long because she is rescued by her husband, who promptly bashes Roland's head in. So my question is, was the Roland and Fail and Roland thing, was that one-sided or not? Because to be fair, and I'm trying to be fair always with characters, the power imbalance is always something to be mindful of. Fail is a prisoner and she doesn't have much power against anyone, even against people who are sympathetic to her, such as Roland. So I'm curious about what fandom thinks about that. I have another question about characters. The very beginning, there's some words dedicated to the character of Lilane. And what's her deal? Not in terms of what she does, but who is she in terms of as a character? Because I can't seem to get a reading on her as a person. What exactly is driving her character? Is it loyalty? Not to Egwene, I don't think so, at least not on the surface. Is it lust for power? Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like she's purely driven by a lust for power. Is it pride? Maybe? There is some kind of resentment, but from what angle, I cannot say. And lastly, my question is very explicitly about Rand's hand. Will he ever restore his hand? Is it even possible? Seeing the way his hand was destroyed and the way he lost it. Maybe some kind of magical contraption, mechanical hand, in the grand old tradition of the Skywalker line, or not. I mean, I'm okay with either, as long as there are consequences for that. The things I liked, what was good about this book. There's a lot of things to praise with this book. I can't believe I'm saying this, because my dislike for the prologues of Wheel of Time is well documented. And I do and am aware that this book was finished by Brandon Sanderson. From what I understand, and please do correct me if I'm wrong, this book was mostly finished. The full outline was done, and Brandon just finished it. He did use sketches for the next books to finish it. So this book is as much of a Jordan book as it can possibly be through the Brandon Sanderson lens. And the next ones, from what I hear, are more of a Brandon Sanderson thing. So this prologue was riveting. It was really good, and with Galad of all people. Once again, Jordan just demonstrates his ability to be in a moment, to deliver this flowing passage of time where it's like the time flows differently for the duelists and the audience and us as readers. And I was actually, on Galad's side. I cared that he defeats the guy because it was really well written. I don't care about Galad as a character, but I was really interested in that scene. It was really good. Another thing that I really enjoyed was just on an existential level. I do enjoy Aiel subplots and Aiel as a faction in these books as much as anyone, I think. But I am glad that the Shido tribe is out of the picture, at least for now, because I do think they were overexposed. And they were overexposed thanks to another positive point I have, which is the Fail rescue arc. I think it's hands down the worst arc in the books, but it ended on a satisfactory note. So not only it was a good thing that it ended, it also ended well, I think. I also am glad to see Moraine, at least in writing, on several levels. Epistolarically, that she is here again. I'm glad that she is going to enter the fray again. I can't wait to read about the rescue. I did mention it previously in a recap that it is weird that she is addressing Tom as with terms of endearment, but okay, I guess we'll find out. I don't know, maybe they were exchanging letters all this time and I don't know. The secret life of Moraine and Tom. Actually, I only have 2 points because this book was pretty tightly written and plotted. I didn't like Elaine this time around. I understand that from a certain point of view, it's much easier to write Brigitte. And why am I saying that? Writing Brigitte, I presume, has its own challenges because she's a person who got reincarnated and has all these prior lives in her, and she's destined to meet her lover again and all that. And there's some baggage to her, but there is no very specific type of baggage that is pointed to Elaine. Elaine is someone who's very young, risen through the ranks very quickly, and the type of character development that needs to be balanced is how do we as writers keep her competent but not too competent, challenged but not unchallenged as to that she is not infallible, and still keep her as a relatable character and not just another authority figure in the sea of authority figures we have in these books. And I don't think I was getting anything interesting from her this book. Another negative, and my last negative point here, is Siwan Sanche, who I do like as a character, but her romance is so tripe. It makes my eyes roll so much every single time. It's so unnecessary. This is more of a wish than a prediction. I hope that Moraine, when she reappears in the plot, gets to be her own person. What I mean is, all this time we found out very little about her personal life and who she is as a human being. She had to fulfill all these roles as an agent to Sian Sanche, as a mentor to Rand, as a work partner to Lan and all that. And speaking of Lan, Lan got a chance to find happiness. And I think she should be allowed to do the same. Why not? And another prediction is that this time around, with Lan's mission, it's not going to be a one-man war. It's going to be much more successful, and it's going to be kick-ass. I know it's a very broad prediction, but I do predict that he is not going to die there, and he is going to stumble upon something, a weapon of some kind or a revelation of some kind that's going to happen, that's going to help in the last battle. So, what do I feel about this book? I mean, it's kind of night and day comparing it to the last one. It's easily top 5, I think. I don't think it's the best ever, but it is top 5. The best part of this book is honestly the pacing and the economy of chapters, the way that they're spread out. There are no huge shocking revelations, apart from, well, Moraine maybe, but that's not that shocking. It's more shocking that she's exchanging letters with Thom. But anyway, the overarching plot has moved, and it has ramped up. And whenever plot moves away from Rand, it's still as equally as interesting, which is just great. So there's that. That will be it. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you Kate and Ethan for your continued Patreon support. I'm very grateful for that. Please, everyone else, do like and subscribe if you have enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye.